What up, what up? Welcome to Mr. Brown's class where there's no whining and no complaining. Today we're working on solving multi-step equations, which for the most part is just two-step equations. All right, so all you have to do in this case is two steps. We've worked on one-step equations. In this first one, all right, you've seen something like this before, and you could solve this one, most of you, right, by just observing it and using mental math, right? But we're going to work at, right, solving these equations because later on a lot of these, you're not going to be able to solve just in your head. So let's look at this first one. All right, so we have 3x, so something times 3 plus 1 equals 7. All right, so let's look at this. We have plus 1 over here. And now the first step is always to get what's not attached to the x on the same side as the x over to the other side. Okay, so our goal is to get x by itself. So the first thing we want to do is the opposite operation here of the number that's by itself. All right, so we're going to subtract 1 because positive 1 minus 1 equals what? It equals 0. All right, so that's gone. But whenever we have an equation, we have to keep it balanced by doing the same thing on both sides. So 7 minus 1 is 6. All right, and then we still have the 3x plus 0 equals. All right, but this is gone now. All right, because this is 0. All right, now we divide by 3. All right. Opposite operation, it's multiplying here, all right? So we divide by 3, and we get x equals 2. And the great thing about algebra is being able to put your answer back in and see if it works. So we're going to put 3 times 2, all right, which is 6, plus 1 equals 7. So that checks out, that works. Right? You can always check your answer. All right, so let's try this one. All right, so see how this is attached? These are being multiplied together. So we're going to either add or subtract the number that's by itself to get it over to the other side. Now remember, it doesn't matter if it looks like this. All right, 9 equals negative 2x minus 5. All right, it's still the same thing. The number by itself on the same side as the x. We want to get that over to the other side because our goal again is to get x by itself. So negative 5, so we're going to add 5 because again negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Again, if we do it on one side, we have to do it on the other side. 9 plus 5 is 14. Okay, now here's a very crucial thing is to remember that this is a negative 2. So we divide by negative 2, and if we divide by a negative number, okay, a positive divided by a negative, it's going to be a negative. So our answer is negative 7. We can put this back in. Negative 2 times negative 7 is a positive 14. Minus 5 is 9. So there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, now this one's a little bit trickier because we can combine like terms. The first thing we always have to do, which we didn't have to do on these or any of these over here, is simplify first before we can go ahead and solve. So we have a 3x, all right, and remember that we can change this to adding a negative x. So that's adding a negative x. All right, we can put those two like things together. All right, we can put x's together. So what's 3x plus a negative x? That's 2x. Now eventually you won't have to, you'll be able to use mental math and know that it was just 3x minus x plus 4 equals 28. All right, now from here, why don't you pause it and see if you can solve this one on your own. Okay, so we're going to subtract 4. Right, because it's plus 4, right, and that's the number by itself. All right, we have 2x equals 12. So we divide by 2. All right, and we get x equals 12. All right, so always opposite operations as we go ahead and start solving. But in this one, we had to simplify first, put the x's together. Okay, why don't we pause this and you see if you can figure this one out on your own. Even though it's a decimal, you can do it. All right, since it's minus 1.2, we're going to add 1.2. All right, this equals 0, so 2x equals 4.2. Go ahead and divide by 2. All right, and we get x equals 2.1. All right, so added and then divided. All right, almost the opposite of all your PEMDAS stuff. Okay, we're adding and subtracting first, then multiplying and dividing. All right, why don't you pause it and see if you can solve this one? All right, we're going to subtract 22, because that's a plus 22. All right, 30 minus 22 is 8. 22 minus 22 is 0, so that's gone. We divide by negative 2. And again, this cancels each other out and just becomes w. All right, remember when you divide by itself, it ends up being 1. We don't need to put a 1w here. We divide this by negative 2. And remember that a positive divided by a negative is negative. All right, so our answer is negative 4. And think about it. Negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. Plus 22 is 30. And we got the hardest one out of them all here. You try to do this one on your own. Okay, we're going to add a third because we're subtracting a third. All right, and so a negative third plus a third is 0. So we add a third. 2/3 plus 1/3. Okay, this is not as hard as we thought it was going to be. That's 1. All right, we have a half. X equals 1. Now this goes back to 6th grade math here. All right, what times a fraction equals 1? Well, we know that the reciprocal, if we multiply by the reciprocal, all right, that equals 1. So if we multiply by 2 over 1, all right, that equals, our answer equals 2. So anytime, remember, anytime we have like 2/3 x equals, let's say 2, remember that we multiply by the reciprocal in this case. All right, these cancel out and you just end up with 3. All right. Remember, everybody, be more awesome. And make sure that if you like this video, that you subscribe and like and share it with somebody that might be struggling with this concept or other concepts with math.